Welcome to Healthy Aging with Gina. And we're going to start as we do every week, because remember, this show is for those of us who've been younger for longer. And we need to keep staying fit and younger, and we need to keep our bodies moving, we need to keep our brains moving, because the two are connected. So we're going to do 4 very, very simple exercises from the Ageless Grace program before we have a little break and go on to our second half. But I really look forward to sharing these exercises with you. So if you're ready at home, you've got your firm chair, I hope that you've got your shoes off, because it's easy enough to do. Your feet are flat on the floor. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's roll it. So are you ready for some spinal stretches? It's going to be a nice, easy circuit. I want your hands flat. I want you to imagine you're just circling on a table. It's not fast. You stretch your spine out as far as you can go. You can go quite far. I want you to stop at the top, change direction, reverse it. Push down into the feet so you're not going to fly out your chair. 26 joints in the spine. We need to really be working them all. Okay, stop in the center, bring these feet back together. Take the hands here, and we're just sliding, and we're looking at our hands as they go one side, and then sliding and looking as they go the other way. And slide. So there's a little twist, a stretch. All right, now we're taking the hands and going right behind us. Let the head follow the hands. Both sides. All right, last one that side. Now I want you to put a hand on your knee, other hand on the shoulder. We're going to take the elbow over to the knee, and we're just taking the whole body down. Let the head drop down towards the knees. One more this side. Change sides, hand to knee, hand to shoulder, elbow over to the hand. So you bend it and let the nose drop down as well. And we're going to do one more. Very good. Now the next one's all about imagining you're in an orchestra, and as the music will start playing, you kind of think of a set of drums. So imagine you've got a drum set. I've never played the drums, but you know, I've watched drummers. Used to love Ringo. Who else used to love Ringo and the Beatles? You know, drummers always look so cool, don't they? So they've got the foot on the pedal, so you've got to be tapping your foot. You've got to have the drumsticks here. One of my sons used to play drums, now I come to think about it. They played at schools, you didn't get to see. Thankfully, he was never got so keen that we had to have a drum set at home. That might have put me off. That or else I might have learned. Change feet, change hands. Anybody at home play drums? What about the cymbals up here? And the other side. What about a guitar? You played a guitar. You've got the long arm, you've got the strings, you've got to pluck the strings, strum it in the middle. And if they've got to try and tap the other foot opposite to the direction where the hand is. This is why the right-left brain is thinking, okay, what am I doing? What am I doing? More the brain has to be instructed to be doing things differently. Change feet, foot tap, arm tap. We're ambidextrous musicians, by the way. Musicians always tap their heads as well. All right, what about a little blowing on a trumpet? Other side. What about a trombone? You've got to stretch the arm out and back. Stretch, stretch. Stretch it on the other side. And what about the piano? Hands out. Right out to the ends. Good. So there we are, just imagining what it is to be playing different instruments. Now the next one's going to be taking us up and down. So we've got to be moving, our hands are going to go up here. We're going to touch the knees. And we're going to come down over towards the toes. So you're going to go as low as you can, If you can go all the way down to the toes, great. Even if it's just a little one, maybe you can only go this high. You're going to touch the knees and you can only just go down to there. That's okay, but always go to your range. So, since I seem to be able to touch my feet, I'm going to be able to do that. This exercise is for the muscle of the heart, because the moment you go over the heart line, it's got to work a little bit harder. But not so hard that we're getting really cardio and exhausted. Last one down. Very good. Now this time we're taking it in a diagonal, so we're going to touch the knees, because we always come back to a center position. Touch the knees, go out there, touch, down that side. So look up, always let the head follow the hands. It means it's less strain on the neck. And we're changing sides, so we're tapping center, going up, knees, and then down the opposite side. These are so nice and easy. It's just making you do and move your body in ways that you're not normally when you're at home. A few more. More this side. That's great. Now this time we're just tapping the knees for 1, 2, pressing out in front of us. Come back and press the knees for 2. We're going to press up for 2. Look up. 1, 2. Press the knees for 2. It's a little routine. We're going to look down towards the floor on the side. So we go back to the center. Press it out. Knees going up. Here we are. Down to the side. Got to keep it going just till the music stops. Where do we go next? Out? Well, let's go out. I've forgotten where I'm going next. You see what I mean? Brain and mouth connecting up. And knees and down. 1, 2. Maybe you got quicker. Up. Down. Up. Maybe that was out. Did you go up? Down. Push. Great. Now we haven't done much in the way of knees today, so I think we need to do a whole lot more. So this is our last exercise for the morning. Maybe it's the afternoon when you're watching the show. Could be any time. It's a great thing with modern technology. We really don't mind when we watch our favorite shows. We're just going to kick it out. Kick. So this is all about hips, knees, and the ankles. And point to the opposite hand. Opposite hand to the opposite foot. That's what I'm working on. Getting you working on. Point. Push. Great. Point. Very good. Now how about stepping out side to side? We step out one side, center, and then the other. Push the hands out. Doesn't have to be fast. Quicker. And we're going to alternate the feet going forward with a little tap. Keep going, tap it, tap it, tap it. Good. Just keep it going. And march it up. Little heel taps out to the side, alternate sides. Stretch it out just as far as that's comfortable for that hip. There we are. Not difficult, but we've kept our bodies, our brains, our joints, our muscles working, circulating, working on our breathing. Got your heart going a little bit. Got mine going a little bit. And march it again. Get these elbows up as well. More body parts that move, the more the heart rate is moving. Well done. There we are. 10 minutes of ageless grace. Welcome back to Healthy Aging with Gina. And today's a meaty topic and kind of carrying on from our new CEO and Faisal Syed of the Faisal Syed Show talking about depression. Because I also wanted to share about it from a personal basis. Because the combination of divorce, often leads to depression. And to just share my story, because it is other people's stories that very often reassure us that we're not alone. So I went through a divorce a couple of years ago, and that was following on from breast cancer and a mastectomy, which was something that could be fairly depressing. So when I started going to see my oncologist after the first time after the operation, he said, how was I and how was I doing? And I felt okay. I felt I was in recovery. We'd made the decision to separate. It was like, this was my decision. I knew what I was doing. It's like, okay, I felt good. I went back another 3 months later, because after an operation, you see them every 3 months. And he said, how are you doing? And I went, I'm okay, I'm fine. He said, are you sure you don't need an antidepressant? Because, it's very common for post-cancer treatments, and then you've got, your separation on top of that. I said, I'm okay. Third time, I go back in, and it's been difficult. I am finding myself incredibly apathetic. I have got no energy. I don't really kind of care about things. I'm tearful, and I'm not feeling myself. Now, just as I shared, I never expected to get breast cancer. I see myself as a very positive, focused, high-energy person. I certainly never expected to get depression. But the reality is that life circumstances can change at any time, and the loss of a loved one can be one of the biggest reasons to get depression, particularly if a parent and you lose a child. And you can be a child and you can lose a parent. I know that was a big knock in my life. And we've all had an incredibly tough year this last year. And whereas to begin with, we all kind of knew numbers of people that had been affected by COVID. I don't know about you, but for me in this last month, 6 weeks, certainly I've had people that I know, friends who have passed. And then you see the hard journey that their partners have to go. So for myself, I decided, yes, I was not coping. And I think it was two circumstances together. And sometimes it needs to be an accumulation of circumstances to make you take action. And I was encouraged and recommended by a girlfriend to maybe go and join.
Sorry. You know where you're picking it up? A friend asked you to join something?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Come back. 3, 2, 1, action.
So my friend had found a course, and it's called the Divorce Care Workshop. And the course is run in many, many different churches. It's very interdenominational. Yes, it is Christian, but the course is very much open for anybody, regardless of whether they are a person of faith or not. And it's spread over the course of 12 to 13 weeks. Small groups, small faith-sharing groups, and with some facilitators who themselves have been divorced, have now then been married again for a very long time, and really understand both sides of the spectrum. There are different subjects covered over the 12 weeks. And what's lovely is that it starts with a community meal. So somebody within the church makes a meal. There were, I think, 10 of us in the group, and then the two couples who were there as our facilitators. So what was it? It was 10 to 14 people, and we'd sit down and we'd have a meal together. And it was wonderful, because what it meant is that one day a week you didn't have to worry about cooking for yourself. You were getting to eat with people who were in a similar situation. And this is why I can't recommend enough, whether it's going to be depression or divorce, that you find some support group for people to just be, who've been in the same situation that you are. It is extraordinary to walk the journey with other people who understand. So it was absolutely magic. And within a couple of weeks on that course, we did the theme for that week was depression. And it ran through the symptoms. It ran through lack of energy. It ran through apathy, ran through memory, lack of concentration, wanting to isolate. in its very worst cases, as Faisal would have discussed, suicide. So, there are people who were all in different stages. And I literally sat there with a pencil going, yep, 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 yep. So by the time I'd done that, and then very close to that, I'd had the appointment with the oncologist, and he said, do you think you'd like to get on an antidepressant? Because, you do seem quite down. And I took his advice. And he recommended a certain antidepressant for me, a certain amount of milligrams that he suggested taking. It wasn't terribly a high dose to take 150 mils in the morning, 150 mils at night. And then you've got to remember to take it twice a day, which wasn't ideal. So I started doing that, and I didn't feel any great difference to begin with. And one of my sons spoke to me, and who's also had to take antidepressants himself, and he said, Mum, I can hear this so clearly. He said, listen, you don't go to a plumber to get your electrics done. I went, what? He said, an oncologist is fantastic. You're going to him for your cancer treatment, and that's great. But if you are going to be dealing with an antidepressant, you need to speak to somebody who specializes in the brain, because physiologically, there are changes happening in your brain function, which is why you feel depressed. And he said, you really should see a psychiatrist. I said, oh, gracious, psychiatrist. Well, I haven't ever expected to see one of those in my life either. But he was quite right. You do need to go and speak to somebody who deals with the relevant area. So, if you're pregnant, you're not going to go and see your dentist, for example. So I made the decision and I went to see him, and, we spoke. And it's the counseling that is so important as well, that you're getting somebody to talk to who understands what you're going through and can help reassure you, because it's perfectly normal. That mental illness is sometimes not recognized and accepted as being an illness, or you discount people who are depressed. And I'm going to be honest and say, prior to having gone through it myself, I did not have the same level of empathy and understanding as I then achieved by having gone through that journey. So my delightful psychiatrist, does the counseling, walks you through it, discusses the medication, and he could see that there hadn't been a great change. And he said, well, listen, what I would rather do is, yes, I'm very happy with that antidepressant that you're on, but I would rather that we gave you a mega dose. So instead of the 150, that you get up to 450 first thing in the morning to just kickstart, and you're going to start finding that your brain patterns are going to change, and in a couple of weeks you are going to start feeling so much better. Well, it's true, it works, I did, and I'm incredibly grateful that I had the right advice. So, I think the most important thing that I would say is find people to talk to who have been through what you've been through. And there are no particularly one reason that it can be what causes depression for people. Whether it is loss, whether it's a loss of a job. There are a lot of people, as we know, who've been made redundant, who've lost their jobs, who've lost their businesses, who've had to cut back on their time, people who are on half pay. And all of these things, are difficult then to cope with. So it's to accept that many people go through depression, that it is something you can get help for, that you go and speak to people, that there are both support groups, there are medical help, and to realize that you may need medication to help you over that period of time. I'm glad that I was guided by my doctor, and then by my son, and then by my psychiatrist. And what's great is that as you feel stronger, you then are able to reduce the dosage. So I went down from 450 to 300, from 300 to 150, all over with their direction. You don't do these things on your own. You don't suddenly come off tablets. It is, for most people, a period of a year that you need to be able to be on medication. So over the course of that year, I got stable, got stronger, started reducing it. That was good, started reducing it again, and a couple of months ago I was able to come off it, and I'm feeling back to normal. And the great thing is that you can get back to normal again. So be reassured that you may be in a place at this moment that feels down, that feels difficult, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. So you need to just find it. As I said, if it's going to be divorce that's causing your depression, know that there are very, very good support groups, and this divorce care workshop I cannot recommend enough. As I said, it's run all across the country. Lots of different churches and communities do it. So that didn't want to make that a depressing story. I wanted to just share hope, I think, more than anything else, because I know that also over that period when I was very depressed, one of the things that changed my life and really kept some level of enthusiasm and upliftment was being able to do these Ageless Grace exercises. Because I hope that you have found that even in that 10 minutes of very gentle exercise that we do at the beginning, that you are finding your energy is moved, that you're moving joints, your brain is having to kind of think and play and do all those different things that we do as we do the exercises. So going and doing the exercises, it was teaching 6 classes a week over that period of time, and it meant it was the one thing that gave me a really, really positive upliftment. So getting your body moving and taking care of yourself is one of the other really, really important things to do if you are suffering with depression, that you're eating right, that you are getting exercise, you're getting fresh air. All of those things make you feel so much better. So that is what I would just say to you. Keep doing your exercises. Come back every single week. The wonderful thing is, because these are being uploaded onto YouTube, you can go back and just do 10 minutes at any time that you like. So go and find me on Gina Clifford-Holmes, whether it's going to be on YouTube, whether it's going to be on Facebook. And I'm going to look forward to seeing you back here next week for some more Ageless Grace and a new topic, maybe a new guest. Come and find out.